す命の歌消えない心の傷メシアを求め続けたあの日の夜 All right, welcome back, y'all. This is Degen 106. Today we are going to be talking about something special, but we're without Dan today. Dan ain't with us. He knew I had some Valentine's Day shenanigans going on this week, but
Rip
no
Dan.
worries. I'll get him next time. I will get him next time. Like I promise. Like he says it's for work, Nom, but I promise you, he seen it was Valentine's Day, and he was like, Tyler's gonna want us to watch some kind of bullshit. I'm out this week. How you doing today? You watched the Super Bowl last weekend? We just got off of that, so
I mean, like, by watching, I kind of had it on in the background, hoping both teams were going to lose, but
well, that didn't happen. So
obviously, you know,
I mean, in some ways, you could say that they both lost, because like the halftime show was pretty cool. I really enjoyed that. But I honestly, the halftime show was better than the game, to be honest with you.
I don't know. I mean, the Eagles were playing good, at least it wasn't the Chiefs again.
Oh yeah, like
Nothing,
if it was,
nothing against Pat Mahomes, but like,
bro, if
the hype
the
needs to die.
if
Let
the
the
if
man just
the
play.
if the situation was flipped, I would have turned it off in the before halftime and just like watched halftime. You know what I mean? I think I ended up watching till like the like almost the end of the third quarter, and then I was like, okay, I'm calling it. I'm gonna go watch anime, bro. Cause this shit is
Yeah,
not like it's just not good. So
all I'm saying is that the Super Bowl would have been a little bit better with some Honolulu Blue. All right.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they could have beat the Chiefs though, to be honest with you. But
Oh, we definitely would have.
you think so?
Don't you worry
Well,
about that. We'll take care of that part.
but one thing I didn't that I wanted to see more of, I wanted to see Saquon go off, because it was his birthday too, by the way. And I wanted to see him like get like 150, 200 or something like that for like 2 or 3 touchdowns and just get the MVP and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And he just didn't. So it was the team's time to shine, and he still had a pretty decent day, but he didn't have a Saquon day, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, let's put it this way too. The Chiefs had his number from the beginning.
Oh
There's
yeah,
only
there was
so much he could have done.
yeah.
I
So
mean, their goal was to shut him down. They did. They completely left themselves open to the pass game.
exactly. If you're listening to this, it's probably either Valentine's Day or already past Valentine's Day. We usually try to do some kind of Valentine's themed episode, and that's my time to shine. Usually I try to do something fun for Valentine's Day. I take over the podcast, talk about my kind of shows, stuff like that. Um, like last year, I invited Creags and Ash onto the podcast, and I think it was like I don't know, it was episode 50 something. I'm pretty sure, and we talked about like just a romance anime. I think it was like top 3 romance anime, top 2 new romance anime, and like a hidden gem or something like that. So y'all should go check that out if you're looking to see what kind of romance anime that we talked about back then. It was a lot, honestly. I think that was one of our longer episodes. We went over 2 hours on that shit. So like we always do. Every time Ash and Creeks gets involved, it's just like it's 2 hours instantly. So
Hey, whatever.
when you talk about love, you get carried away, bro. uh But this time, me and Nam, we're gonna be talking about one of my favorite rom coms. It's gonna be Kaguya-Sama, Love Is War, and just letting y'all know, if Dan was here, we would have been watching Wotakoi. Just because like that was our plan for this year was to watch Wotakoi. He always bitches about not having an adult romance or whatever, and Wotakoi was gonna be it this year. We had it planned, but I'm not letting him win that. You know, if since he's out, we're not watching it because we're watching it sometime or another, and I'm making him watch it. So I'm not letting him win. So
Quite the power.
exactly. So we
Dan is the
switched it
power this
up.
time.
Yeah, we switched it up. We're watching Love is War, uh, which is a really good show too. So I guess if you want to, Nam, we can just get into Valentine's Day special Love is War conversation.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Alrighty. So first up, I just want to say, like, if you've never seen Love is War, uh, please go watch it. You know, I definitely want y'all to go watch it. But don't worry if you haven't seen it yet. We're gonna start out with talking about what it's about. I'm gonna give a little synopsis and all those details that we usually do. Then we're gonna talk about like first impressions. And then I'll let y'all know before we move into the spoiler part. So you're safe for now. We're trying to uh just talk for a few minutes about what it is. So with that being said, we watched. I've watched it all. I've watched all 3 seasons of the movie. Nam, you want to let us know what you watched?
Yeah, so I've watched the whole first season and I am currently on episode 9 and I've done that all since about Monday.
Yeah. So mind y'all, we was only supposed to watch 6 episodes. And Nam watched 12, 21 episodes. So, or 20 episodes. I don't know if we watched 9 or not, but anyways.
I'm
Um
like, a third of the way through it. So I've watched one segment.
yeah. So he definitely overshot a little bit. Thankfully, I've already seen this anime, even though it's been a while since I've seen like season 2 and season 3. But I did watch all of season 1 this time as just a refresher. Um but just letting y'all know that's what we're gonna mainly be talking about is season 1 and probably some of season 2 as well. What Nam does talk about. But this is a signing. It's a rom com as well. It's done by A1 Pictures, and you might recognize A1 Pictures from like Solo Leveling. I think Maki Yen. Like they do a lot of good shows. So there ain't really like no problems there. I feel like it's a pretty solid show as far as animation goes. This came out in winter 2019 season, so this is what 6 years old or five and a half, something like that. Like I said, 3 seasons. It's got a movie. I think that's 37 episodes in a movie. The manga is already finished. So I'm kind of hoping that we get the rest of it, sometime soon, because I looked it up in the movie, which is the last thing we got that came out in the end of 2022 or 2023, I think. Christmas, one of them. I don't know which one, but the movie basically adapted 100 chapter 151 and it's 281 chapters total. So we still got like a long way to go, even though they cover like 2 or 3 chapters an episode, sometimes even more. So there's still a lot to go. We need more. It's been a few years now. We need more content, y'all. If y'all listen, A1 Pictures. Um,
You've been cooking with solo leveling. Time to bring back some of your other hits.
yeah, like Kaguya-Sama. Like, give us something, bro. Like the movie is a masterpiece. Give us something else, bro. Um, but before we get started on, our first impressions and all that stuff, just want to give a quick synopsis. And I want to ask Nam. Nam, do you want to give your best Ian Sinclair performance to read this synopsis?
Oh man. Let's
or do
see here.
you want
Let me
me to
see
read the
here.
synopsis?
At the renowned Shuchin Academy, Mikiyuki Shirogane and Shinomiya are the student body's top representatives. Ranked the top student in the nation and respected by peers and mentors alike, Miyuki serves as a student council president. Alongside him, the vice president Kaguya, eldest daughter of the wealthy Shinomiya family, excels in every field imaginable. They are the envy of the entire student body, regarded as the perfect couple. However, despite both having already developed feelings for the other, neither are willing to admit them. The first to confess loses, will be looked down upon, and will be considered the lesser. With their honor and pride at stake, Miyuki and Kaguya are both equally determined to be the one to emerge victorious on the battlefield of love.
Bravo, bravo. That was actually really good. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you.
I felt like, at some points we was listening to Brooke talk. So I like that.
Yo!
Exactly. You done a way better job than I could have, since I can't halfway read and talk. So
Yeah,
I
no,
want
I
to make
really
sure
had to
you had
I
to
really
get
had to
into it.
dig deep down in that one, yeah.
You had to get in gamer mode, bro.
Oh, man, that was whew.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I had to make sure, I gave you the opportunity to shine, bro, because I knew I couldn't hit anywhere close to that. So
Oh, man. Everyone, you need to let me know how you thought of that performance. You can add me in Discord, add me on X or Twitter. You can add us at Blue Sky and just tell Tyler to tell me.
yeah.
Wherever your social media platform is, just let me know how I did.
Yeah. Let him know how he stacks up to Ian Sinclair.
In the meantime, I'm gonna go grab something to drink.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome back from getting a drink, by the way. I just wanna know, as someone that's not watched too many of these shows, what was going through your head when I told you, "Hey, Nam, you wanna watch Love Is War?"
I was like, God, this is gonna be probably one of the cringiest shows I'm gonna end up watching. Thanks, Tyler. Really appreciate this, buddy. um, I didn't really have high hopes for it at first, but I mean, at the same time, I was willing to give it a shot, right? I said 6 episodes. Because you had originally asked me, the whole concept of 6 episodes came because you asked me how many episodes you thought I was gonna watch, and I was at least gonna willingly give it 6.
It's
On the
better than
simple
Dan. Dan is like, his max is 3,
I
and
mean,
his minimum is half of an episode.
I get it though. I do get it because sometimes there are things that are just that bad. Like
But
the sumo show that he had to watch.
that's different. Like, there's nowhere close to this now. You know what I
Well,
mean?
no, but at the same time, with zero knowledge and expectation going into it, and again, the fact that it's a rom-com and its whole name is Love is War, it doesn't exactly sound very appealing. At least to someone like, say, like myself or potentially even Dan.
Yeah. I mean,
So I get it.
yeah. Yeah, I was really hoping that you would. I mean, you are like more open than Dan is about watching stuff, at least. Sometimes Dan will just say, "Hell no, I ain't watching that." And I'm just like, "But bro, why? Look, it's so good. Look at the rating. It's like a 9 on Mal."
I mean, yeah, but that could just be a very passionate fan base has ensured that it gets
Oh
ranked
yeah.
very highly. So you can't really go based around ratings. That's one thing that I personally don't like doing, and that's why I'll give something a shot. Um, for video games and stuff like that, I'll usually look to streamers. I'll watch the streamers that are playing it. I might not even have the audio on. I might just be watching the game itself. That's what really sold me on Death Stranding. That was one of my favorite games that I played. The story in
Okay.
that was phenomenal. I won't recommend that game to you because personally, I think most people are going to find the gameplay boring. The
It's
story,
basically running simulator, you know?
yeah, you're a fucking glorified
Mailman.
delivery man.
Yeah, mailman.
Um, but at the end of the day, it was still a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and the story itself sold me on. And without actually getting a chance to see more of it, other than just reading. And again, I'm going back to Death Stranding, but going and reading IGN's review where they gave it, I think it was like a 6, and they said it was basically garbage. Every other version of IGN that wasn't the US office actually played more than just up to chapter 3 and got to see the game. So
Yeah.
if I went off of the IGN review, I was just going to disregard the game and not even look at it again.
One thing you know, I don't know. I mean, I know that they're a game magazine or like company, whatever you want to call them
Entertainment
nowadays.
magazine.
Yeah. But I've like long ago stopped paying attention to what they ranked or what they rated because like they give out some of the shittiest scores of anime, bro. Like they literally will say Furin. Like this is probably not true, but they literally would probably say Furin is like a 7. And
Oh
bro,
yeah.
like that's just how they are. Like I feel like sometimes their scores and shit are literally like just clickbait, trying to get people to click or like trying to get people to engage and share and like talk shit, you know what I mean, to further
But
advertise.
but my point though being is ratings and reviews can only go so far.
Yeah.
You can't rely on, just because an anime does have like a 9.0 on Mal doesn't mean that you're going to like it and enjoy it.
Oh yeah. That's for sure. I mean, you're probably if you enjoy that genre and it's got like a high score or whatever, then you probably will enjoy that. You know what I mean? There's a high chance of you enjoying it.
Oh yeah.
So, but if you're Dan and you don't like teenage romance as he calls it or kids romance or whatever, like you're probably not gonna. I mean, I feel like he would still like this in a way if he can get past the whole like romance
We'll
tag. You know what I
we'll
mean?
touch up on that in a little
Yeah,
bit.
later at the end. I feel like at the end we need to talk about it a little bit. See if Dan would like it or not. Um,
We will definitely cover
but you know, my what I was expecting when I went in this show. Like I said, I watched this a long time ago. This is probably watched this like 5 years ago, probably for the first time. So I have no idea what I was thinking. Back then,
that.
like I'm sure I thought this was like a pure romance. This was one of the first shows that I tried to actually watch, many years ago. My love story was like the first one, and like I watched like Toradora and stuff like that. And like this was one of the first handful of shows that I tried watching as well. This was back when I was still watching dub too, by the way. I didn't watch hardly any subs back then. And I started watching this, and when I was like branching out for the first time, and I like watched 2 or 3 episodes of it, and then I stopped watching it because I wanted something else. I wanted something more romantic. Uh, but then I ended up coming back actually after watching like several other shows, like binging several other romance shows, like romance dramas, and I actually enjoyed it. The first time I watched it, I remember, and I looked and seen what I give it. I gave it back then. I gave season one an 8 back then. So I'm curious if the score changed after this first rewatch of it, or like this rewatch of it. Um, so what did you think about it overall? Like first impressions.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I did find that like some of the stuff was kind of cringy and whatnot. Not so much like
Obviously,
the
yeah.
reactionary shots in the beginning, but just like how they reacted to some of the reactionary shots, like their reactionary shots, if that makes sense. Because
Yeah.
that's a lot of what it was. I mean, there's only so much you can convey with emotions and drama, especially with a more limited budget than say Solo Leveling. Because that definitely didn't get anywhere near the budget that that show got. You
No, it was
can't tell
still
me
good.
otherwise.
It was still good
It's
for the time though, for
the
us like a romance or whatever.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still very well animated, but yes, they definitely did do a lot of the reaction shots because that's the whole point though, right? They're trying to generate like that kind of buzz, if you will. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
hey, this is very shocking revelation here. What I did enjoy though was like the whole school dynamic that they kept throwing in there. That I felt added like a very nice, unique flavor that the show kind of needed.
Like the
Um,
council stuff.
the council stuff, the actual business that they were dealing with, just some of the various things that they were addressing and stuff like that, or showing throughout. I mean, they didn't really show like a whole lot of school-based stuff, but they did show just a few things that were pretty nice and needed, I would say.
Yeah, I think one of those things is like they tell us that this school, I think it's Shooting Academy or something like that.
Yep.
Um it's actually for like very successful slash rich people. It's like a prep school kind of thing. So that was it's good to acknowledge that, first like in the first couple episodes or like first couple minutes because like
Oh yeah.
it makes more sense, because this is the kind of people you're dealing with, people that have big mansions, people that have, the maids, like Kaguya, um, like, and it brings a nice perspective between, uh, president and vice president too, because the president Miyuki, he doesn't have, that type of money. He's just he got to where he is from working hard, being the smartest or whatever. So it's nice
Yeah,
knowing
putting
that.
his nose
So
to the grindstone.
yeah. So, it is nice when they add those elements too, because now you know why all these people are acting like how they do. Because they don't act like normal kids, they act different. So
Spoiled little rich
yeah,
brats.
yeah.
I'll
So,
say it. I ain't afraid.
uh, do
Their
you have
money
any?
can't hurt me because it's not real.
uh, so
Put your
do,
wallet away, Kaguya.
do you have anything else to add to, your, what you thought about it on your first watch through, like anything like that? Why you watched 20 episodes, 2 seasons of it in 3 3 days?
Well, I mean, there was definitely a lot of intrigue behind it, right? So, I mean, the first episode it does a pretty good job of getting you interested in the concept of the show because, I mean, while it is still like a romance show, it does focus more at first on the comedy aspect. Um, which was a very nice change of pace. It really kind of like set it apart with that. Um, and then just as well too, the overall complexity of like what they were doing, how they were still developing and stuff like that, and developing themselves, um, and just like the lengths that they were going to. A lot of it was very comical. I mean, like some of it was cringy, but it was more comical than it was romantic and stuff like that.
And even the cringy stuff was kind of funny, to be honest with you. I
Yeah, I
felt like.
mean, there was definitely some of them that were pretty funny. I mean,
um,
a lot of it too was ultimately just like the payoff, right? So without giving it time for the big payoff, yeah, it definitely seems like it'd be a lot worse than what it is.
Okay. Um, I guess there's only a couple more things before we move on to spoilers. I'd like to know like if you'd recommend this to people, like if you would, like who would you recommend this to? Who do you think this would go well with?
Um, a lot of people who still would have more of like a childish kind of attitude and stuff like that or demeanor, right? I feel like they would definitely vibe with it a lot more. I think someone who also is a little bit more of like a romantic or an idealist. Um that or someone that just kind of like overall finds anything and everything funny and enjoyable.
Okay.
I'll tell you one
Uh
person who I wouldn't recommend it to.
who?
Dan. We'll cover that one in a bit though, right? We'll get into that one later.
Yeah. I
There'll be
think
several examples that I'll point to.
yeah. Me personally, I think that this is kind of perfect for people that don't have a lot of romance anime under their belt. Uh, like maybe they've never watched any kind of romance, or they've only watched a couple, or like they've watched like the sub romance things and like shonen or whatever, you know. Um, and like maybe they want to try watching a rom com for the first time. I think I think this would be a good one because like it does so well in transitioning from like the heavy comedic focus to actually transitioning into the more on the romance side of things. Even when it's like starts getting into the more romantic themes later on, like it's still being funny. And I feel like this is a good like spot for someone to start watching because like they they have such a good time. Like if they give it a chance, like they have such a good time watching it. It's not all lovey dovey, you know. It's actually funny. So um, that's kind of who I think I would recommend it to. Obviously, like anybody that likes romance or whatever, like this is a must watch. But I think it would fit very well for people that are new and want to try romance for the first time or rom com for the first time. So, um, and one more thing before we move on, you know, the OPs are some of the best. Like they're very good OPs in my opinion. Like they're all bangers. I know we only listened to the first two during this watch through or whatever. But I just want to know like did you enjoy them? Like did you enjoy one more than the other? Cuz like for me, like even though I like Daddy Daddy Do a lot, the OP number 2, I really enjoy the first OP. I don't I forget what it's called. It's like Love is War probably.
Yeah, considering that they chant it like every 3 seconds in that song, which by the way though, I
Love
did
Dramatic.
enjoy. Okay, well, I'm gonna call it "Love Is War" because that's what he screams like 15 times, and no, that is my preferred one out of the two. It's the one I
Yeah.
remember more of than I do the other.
Okay. I know a lot of people love Daddy Daddy Do. But I do too. I like it a lot. I think they're both bangers. I just like the first OP way more. Um but yeah, I just want to get your opinion on that before we move into the spoiler zone. Because now we're going to it. We're going to talk about. We're going to be definitely mentioning stuff that happens in season one, all of season one probably, and probably some of season two. If Nam talks about season two, because I haven't watched season two in a while, so I'm definitely not bringing up anything that happens in the past season one unless Nam brings it up because like you know the lines are blurred for me. You know what I mean?
There
So
there is one key crucial scene that I want to mention.
yeah.
Also, there is one character who doesn't get introduced until season 2 that we can talk about. Because she was fairly interesting as well.
Yeah, and before we start talking about any of that stuff, like Nam can give a heads up, before we start talking about Miko or like the other thing he wants to talk about. We can just give y'all a heads up, if y'all haven't watched season 2 yet. That way we're fixing to talk about some season 2 stuff. So, but it'll be mostly season 1 stuff. Um is what I would probably say. So, if y'all haven't watched this yet, make sure y'all go watch it. It's legit so good. It's great, dub and sub. But now we're gonna move into spoilers, so beware. Stop listening or whatever if you haven't seen season 1. So, um, but yeah. So now we're gonna get into the style of the show. This is kind of like a pretty unique style. I feel like it's obviously a rom com, is what it's called. And I know that Nam doesn't usually watch these type of shows. Like I watch these shows a lot nowadays. Um, so he already told us that he enjoyed it, but like, was this a good taste of rom com for like your? Is it first of all like is this your
I
first
would.
true rom
It,
com?
I don't know if I would consider it my first true one. Obviously, like I'm married, so my wife watches quite a lot of different shows, and
No, I'm talking about
unfortunately,
anime
I
though.
have to watch it. All the same, it would be
Yeah.
my first rom com. At the same time, too, though, depending on what some shows are classified as, it might not be my first one.
Yeah. So like I know Nam don't have like a Mal or anything like that I use, so it's hard to know what he's watched in the past. But I know that he's more open to watching, you know, shows, different shows. We've watched some different shows, me and him. So so I was
Okay,
just curious,
so
what have you watched that's kind of like in the same category?
well, what's interesting actually is it's Classroom of the Elite.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen it, but I know that it's about like gambling or whatever, cards or something. So,
What? No, it's about this kid who's like this
oh,
genius, and
okay,
he's
it's Kaku.
manipulating people basically.
Okay, the one I'm talking about is Kakaguri. I think I don't know. Anyways, same
Maybe,
thing.
yeah. No, so this one here though, like it's all about the romance and stuff like that as well, but he manipulates everyone around him, and it's all just like a big game basically. Everything's like about your status and whatnot.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, he just manipulates everyone. He's got no feelings for anyone. And everyone else just goes like absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and I also remember like when I was thinking of a show to watch or whatever. I also remember that Nam actually like nominated uh a manhwa that was like a rom com when we was doing our manga episode. Remember that?
Yeah, let's play.
Yeah, let's play. And I was like, Nam might actually enjoy this. So like I guess like how
So
did you
I'll put
enjoy
it.
the premise of this is what I'm trying
I'll
to ask.
I'll go about it this way. Being that this was not my first genius level rom-com,
It's a
I
very
would
unique
say I would say that
situation.
it does come in second, right? Mainly because Classroom of the Elite definitely does present itself as a much more intelligent based show. Um, that's not to say that this show still doesn't have quite a few highlights, such as just the overall balance between everything that there is, right? Like obviously these two characters, they're not just sitting there like trying to win over their affection, they're trying to get the other person to admit it, which adds a new element to it that Classroom of the Elite doesn't have. And as well too, the way how the characters carry themselves is a lot different between the two shows. And personally, I think Kaguya-Sama really shows more of like the actual average mundane lifestyle that you could expect out of obviously elite class kids, but still out of these four random kids that we've been introduced to, five in the second season. Um, we don't see too much of their outside life, but they definitely do still highlight more of that than I've seen in a lot of other shows, such as like the whole summer vacation um part at the end of season one.
Yeah. Um,
So
I also want to say like this does do something a little different too. Like they like so we're like focusing on the two main geniuses, right? Like obviously all of them are smart in their own way, or like they're something's going on with them. But
something's
we're
going on with at least one of them. I don't know if I would call her smart.
she's probably very she's probably got like a lot of money, probably, if you're
She's
talking about
very
Chica.
dedicated. No, she's very dedicated, is what she is.
Yeah, she's some. But with the Kaguya and Miyuki, I like that. This shows two geniuses just acting so stupid. Like they're acting like they're not even close. Like if you watch them act together in the same room, you'd be like, "There's no way these dudes are geniuses, right?" Because like they're just so stupid,
No, not only
and
that,
I
if I
like
saw
that.
the two of them in a room together acting the way they do, I'd be like, those two are fucking. They're not even
Hey
dating.
yo.
No, they're past that. They are full on just boinking in the back. That room is tainted.
God,
That's my thoughts,
they
right?
would
That's just
die
how they carry themselves.
if you
It's their own fault.
if you mention that. They would die, bro. Literally.
Yeah, well, I'd tell them, quit making it obvious. Just get it over with so we don't have to keep dealing with this.
Yeah. So I mean, it's definitely fun. It's fun watching them just be so confused and befuddled by uh the concept of love, right? And how that they cannot confess to each other because it'll make the other one look weak, I guess, right? And
Yep.
that's just so interesting. That's just so interesting of a concept. Like I've never seen anything else like it in anime, to be honest with you. Um, and they do it so well. Like this is literally like they hit the nail on the head. Love is war. This is literally a freaking a war about trying to get someone to confess their love to the other one, that before they slip up or whatever. It's like a battle of the minds type thing. And I absolutely enjoy that. So um I'm glad that
They
you
do it.
enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, they do a really good job with it. Very, very nice balance there. Because it could have gone like if they went too heavily into one or the other, whether the romance or the comedy, it could have really faltered. So it was good that they were able to actually find that nice balance that they needed to.
Yeah, and going off of that, like you know, when I first watched this, and even now, like obviously I know what happens, like as the seasons go or whatever. Um, but when I first watched it, it's like I was like, damn, like this ain't like a romance. Like, where's the romance at? Like, but it's different. It's a different kind of romance going on. Like in the beginning, it's more about comedy. Like it's still it's crazy because it's like the comedy is about the romance. Like it doesn't have the romance, but the comedy is about the romance or lack thereof, I guess you could say. And then like literally as the season goes, as season one like goes through the episodes, we start getting like a little bit more of the romance taken over, little by little. And then like at the end of season one, like you're left with like a bunch of changes and like the romance is shining through even more. And like as you start season two and you keep on going in season two and season three and the movie, like the further you go into the series, the more the romance comes to the top, if that makes sense. And I like that. I like that a lot.
I mean, at times, because another thing that the show did really well that another show, Shikanoko, could
Oh
really pick up
God.
on is how to do like the segments and like the skit episodes a lot better. Because every single episode of this was just like you said, multiple chapters all in one, right? So you had say three little mini episodes all wrapped up into one bigger episode. And sure, some of them might have been parted, right? Like a part 1, part 2, but ultimately that was still a nice way that they were able to balance it too. Like one episode would have been the president and Kaguya trying to fight over who gets to confess this time, and then you get another episode where it's like you get to learn about Fujiwara being a fucking ramen master.
What the hell was that, by the way?
So I thought that they were gonna go sugar daddy route with that one. I was waiting for it, right? Like, oh my god, she's so cute, and like starts throwing money at her, and she's just like, I gotta get home. No, it's something about ramen. That's what it
Yeah.
ended up being was ramen, and I was like, oh my god, that is honestly that was perfectly played out.
And
It
like,
was it was gonna be a tasteless joke that ended up actually being a really good one.
that segment, like, it didn't like further the plot or anything that was happening in any way other than telling us that Chico was a ramen expert, pretty much. And like, that's what I love about this show too. Is like you get these small episodes, segments that literally does nothing to like progress anything. It's just telling us more about who the characters are and what kind of bullshit that they can do. And that is what this is. It's so cool, it's so fun. It's like you literally never know what you're gonna get. And I think some of that is like like maybe the direction or something, because like I was looking at the chapters adapted per episode or whatever, and it wasn't like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or whatever, right? It was literally like 1, 15, 4, like 6, 3, 10. Like they skipped around a lot, so there was a lot of thought going into which chapters they put into each episode and what order they put it in. I feel like
Yeah,
so I got to
yeah,
give them that
and
shout out too. Is that they actually thought about and directed it, not going down the list like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They actually done it how they done it different, and I enjoy that.
yeah, no, and it seemed like they did a really good job with that too because again, it played out very very well. It was very easy to follow and nothing of it really seemed like it was out of place like what typically happens sometimes. Um most animes are designed to be told just as they appear and this is definitely not one of those ones. Which is a good thing though for it. It's one of its stronger suits, I would say.
Okay. Um, One more thing, another thing that I would like to talk about is so I said that the comedy it starts out like very comedy heavy, and then it kind of like transitions or shifts into like the romance starts coming up to the top in season 1. I feel like personally. Um did you notice like a that shift when you was watching season 1? Like any
So
time, and like when was it
I
if you did?
I did notice, I wanna say it was probably closer to around, like, episode 7 when it really started to be more noticeable, I would say.
When
Um,
when is that? Is that the around the sickness episode?
uh, it might be the sickness episode, yeah.
Because
Um,
that's what I as I was rewatching, I kind of noticed like the sickness, the episode, the segment that Kaguya got sick is when that shift starts happening, where it starts like the romance actually starts coming up more and more after that.
Well, no, I would really say I think it's like right around. Yeah, no, it would be right around 7. No, 7 is where oh, you know what? This might be the one where she does get sick. But in that episode there's actually something else that I did want to talk about.
Okay.
Um this one might be a little bit of a spoiler, so here's a fair warning now for you guys.
Like a season 2
Um
spoiler?
no, in season 1.
Oh. Oh, yeah, it will, hopefully they've already watched season 1. We told them it was gonna be spoilers for season 1, so
Oh my. This was a double treat one. Okay, so this was not the one where she got sick.
okay.
Um However, so two things to talk about. This is the episode where Ishigami starts talking about archery.
Oh, and how Kaguya is so compatible with archery, unlike Chika.
And so then Fujiwara literally makes a fan and just starts smacking him in the back of the head with it.
Yes.
That part was pretty funny. However, it was literally in that same skit. You then have Kaguya and Fujiwara, and they're like, well, you should join a club so you know how much clubs actually need. And you have like Fujiwara trying to bribe him with a cola.
Yeah.
Um, but my favorite thing about this whole episode was and the way how you really start to see more of the romance is this part here. Was it Kaguya is like, you should join a sports club. And Fujiwara is like, no, join my game club. And then like Kaguya grabs
We need to talk right now.
Miyuki. No, grabs Miyuki, right? And she's like, you should really join a sports club. And then Fujiwara grabs him on the other arm, and they're literally just tugging him back and forth. And then it cuts to his inner monologue, and he's like, man, I should really just stop him now. But not yet. And he's
I've
just
really
getting tugged
enjoyed
back and
this.
forth.
Yeah.
It
Like
was
the Go ahead.
I was gonna say it was a really good moment. It wasn't like it was horribly played out and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
it was still something that was very expected and normal out of like teenage romance and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I just want to like say that also is like in episodes 1, 2, 3, stuff like that. Uh Shinomiya, she would have never ever did anything like that. She would have never grabbed Miyuki and like pulled him around like that. You know, uh that I think that shows you just how much she has changed already. And like Nam said, this was like the 7th episode, so in 7 episodes she's changed that much. And like, she only changes even more. Like her and Miyuki, they change so much in the first season. Like they grow, they learn. And this show, that's one of the things this show does very well, is like it goes from being all about getting the other one to confess, and then at some point it actually switches to them being scared that they might actually confess, and it even being like they're even like self-conscious that they might accidentally let it slip. And I love that. It's just one of the things I love. Like, how do you like that? That's just a good anime to me. Like, you start out going like this one way, and then it ends up like you're still doing it, but it's a different thing. So if that makes sense. Um. Also, do you have anything else to talk about? Like this this stuff, Nam?
Um
I say if you
Not really,
don't,
no. I
yeah,
think I think yeah, we can move on to the next bit.
okay. I was gonna say the next thing I want to talk about is the voice actors, specifically the dubbed, because I know Nam watched it dubbed. Um, I watched it dubbed this time. Uh, I've watched it in sub too. Like so the way I did it is like when it first came out, I watched the first two seasons and dubbed, and I watched the season three and the movie and subbed, and like the subbed is actually very good too. But as was also say, the dubbed is spectacular. Like this dubbed is literally top three anime dubs all time for me. It is that good. I hold it very close to my heart. Like it's one of my favorite dubs of all time. The only thing that's even close to this is like Cowboy Bebop and probably like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Like that's my top three right there. And Kaguya-Sama. So, um, but I feel like that we should talk about just how well the dubbed is, and like also talk about that this is. I don't know if you have more, if you have anybody else in mind, but me personally, I think that this is one of the best narrator performances in anime. So,
Um He's definitely bringing so much attitude and personality to the role that it's hard not to think of him as such an integral character. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, there's iconic narrators from all across anime, right? Biggest one being from Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z. But Ian Sinclair is doing an absolute fantastic job, and it's hard not to like wait for his commentary to come in because he'll just say something random and then like throughout this first season he starts to get a little bit more wild, but the route that he takes as soon as season 2 takes off, this man is literally shouting into the microphone, and it is just I it's amazing. I'm loving it. Fantastic, and it's probably one of the things I look forward to the most.
yeah. So like, when you're watching other shows, right? A lot of the times like if there's a narrator, like you don't really notice, right? Like they're just there. They're reading stuff and they're there to give you information that you need or whatever, right? And they're just probably reading in like a monotone voice, whatever. They're reading in like a narrator voice, right?
Yeah.
Well, Ian Sinclair does not. I feel like Ian Sinclair. I'm not even sure if he's even reading the script. To be honest with you, they probably just
This
told him that, like, "Hey,
this
I
man
want to
made
get
the
this
script.
point
What are you
across."
talking about?
Yeah, yeah. They
He's
probably
just
just said,
ad-libbing.
yeah, exactly. I feel like sometimes he is just ad libbing.
I
And the
feel
crazy,
like here's what I feel like they've done. They gave him like a base script, right?
like this is what I want to
And
portray. You know,
no, not even that. Like these are things that you have to say, and he's like, "Okay, what about the rest of the time?" They're
meta
like, "What do you
commentary.
mean?" And he's like, "Oh, hold on, let me show you."
I legit think that like you know it feels sort of like those reaction videos, right? Like a good reaction video where like he's just watching them, like they're at a TV and he's watching them, and like he just butts in just randomly. And I love that. Like he really brings the spark to the show. Like he gives it more life. Like if it was just like a normal narrator, right? And it was just he was just reading the lines, in a normal narrator way. This show would still be good, right? Like this show would still be funny. It would still hit, but it wouldn't be spectacular. Ian Sinclair brings that spectacularness. And even the sub voice actor. Like I've watched his sub too, and like they do a good job too. They do a very good job. But the thing is, the difference between subbed and dubbed is the sub you have to read the subtitles. And even though that they also like don't just they're just not monotone too. Like they do get high and stuff like that, like Ian Sinclair. But there's something different about listening to it in the language that we know because we can actually see how much effort and like personality, like Nam said, that he actually does put into it. And like I said, I don't know if Nam has anything else in mind, but like this is basically like the best narrated performance in anime to me. So
It's gonna be really tough to top if they can, because and I think the only way that they really could is if they just gave somebody a show and they were like, "Yeah, go ahead, just whatever you wanna do with it, we don't care.
yeah.
Have fun." Like, okay, that sure, but anything else, it's probably like, "Alright, you know what? Yeah, I mean, you're not topping this performance."
No,
I
yeah.
think it's also key too to them being able to skip around as much as they do,
Because of him,
because
yeah.
yeah, they don't have to worry so much about, "All right, are we actually getting this point across here?"
Because he's there to tell us, you know. He's there to make fun of them while telling us the situation, basically.
Yeah,
Um,
and ensure the story flow continues properly as well.
yeah, and also like he like there's times where he doesn't butt in a lot. Like there's times that like there's a lot of inner monologues going on, inner dialogue going on, and stuff like that. And he doesn't show up near as often. And you know, during those times, I actually miss him. I'm like, huh, I ain't heard old buddy in a while, you know. And
Oh,
like,
he'll chime in with a
yeah,
one-liner shortly
yeah,
thereafter.
he does. Like there's this. I got a couple examples, you know, that I thought was really funny, and I don't know when this was. This was season one sometime. Kaguya's talking to Ishigami, or no, she's talking about Ishigami. I think she's I think something come up and she's they're trying to see if they would date or something. I don't know. And she's like, girls don't date boys who they see as bugs. And Ian Sinclair is just like, damn, rejected. And I'm like, that's some shit like we would say, you know, while we was watching the show. It feels like he's watching the show and he's just like talking like we would be. So
Yeah, and that's what I think really helps out with, like, a lot of the comedy too, 'cause again, the characters do a really good job themselves, but, like, man, this narrator,
yeah.
he's onto something.
Yeah, he they definitely hit the nail on the head with Ian Sinclair, which I don't know if we mentioned, but if you're a One Piece fan, he is Brook. Brook from One Piece. And you will know that he is Brook from One Piece because like you can tell. Like when he hits his high notes, like when he gets excited and stuff, it's literally like Brook's talking. I wish that one of these times he would hit us with the you know, the iconic Brook laugh. Um,
You know it'll never happen though.
or maybe like the panty Joe, you know, the line, you know. I don't know if that would ever happen or not either, but that would be so funny. Panties.
Okay, so quick spoiler. Bam. Fast forward like 10 seconds. There is an episode in season 2 that does feature panties.
Oh, does he commentate that?
I mean, obviously he does make mention of something around that sort, but he doesn't like there's
Do
no
it, Brook.
divulging full into
Okay.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, he doesn't break that character.
I got you. Uh, Speaking of season two, there's another good example. Season two, episode two, I think it was. When Kaguya was talking to Kay, right? Uh, and they was having some kind of conversation, and while they was talking, you just hear Ian Sinclair whispering. He's like, "This is a friendly reminder that Kay is not a man."
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, like it's that type of shit, bro. Like he's literally like he feels like a part of the cast. He's literally a part of the cast. Like even though we never see him, the narrator is part of the cast. And rewatching it for the first time, rewatching the first season, it definitely made me understand that I did not appreciate the narrator, appreciate him on my first watch through, like when I first watched it many years ago. But honestly, now that I'm watching it again, or I did watch it again, it was like it was truly like a spectacle. Like it's literally phenomenal. It's like I said, the best narrated performance I've ever seen. Just watching it back, I just didn't have enough knowledge back then to understand what I was watching, and now that I do, I'm just like, bro, this is the best shit I've ever seen, bro. Like he should have won awards with this shit. So hopefully he did.
Yeah, we should probably look into that one.
Yeah.
We'll let you guys know at a later time.
I should have. But other than that, like other than the narrator standing out so much, like he steals the show. He carries the show, in my opinion. I really like Miyuki. Miyuki's voice actor, dubbed voice actor. Like I feel like he is number two on my list on voice actors on this on the dubbed cast. He just does so good. Like he really gives it his all. Like the girls, like they get like squealy and screamy and stuff, but like Miyuki, he does a lot of things, and I really enjoy that. So, do you have any that you would like to shout out? Any that you really enjoyed, other than Ian Sinclair?
For the dubs,
Yeah.
I mean, they were all pretty good. It was very enjoyable, and then they did portray their emotions very well. So I will give it to them. I enjoyed every single one of their voice actors very well. I don't think any of them did anything that I wouldn't want to see happen again. I guess like there's always like those characters that you'll hear where you just don't want to hear them again, or you just
Oh
don't
yeah,
like
yeah,
them. But like
yeah,
every single one of them did a really good job in this one. It's hard to find these days. I think an actor or an actress that's a voice actor that's gonna do a bad job.
yeah. You. So how long has it been since you heard the One Piece dub? Has it been a while?
It has.
Do you still remember what Nico Robin sounds like?
Yeah.
So, did you know that Nico Robin's voice actor is also Chica?
Nice.
It's insane to uh she's got insane range because they sound nothing alike. Chica is such a more uh like lighter voice or whatever, and like Nico Robin is like a deeper voice, and it's like two different characters or whatever. But I really enjoyed finding that out because I was like, there ain't no way this is Nico Robin, bro. Like there ain't no way this is the same person, but it is actually. So I just wanted to let you know that. So
That is actually very interesting because yeah, I would have had no idea.
yeah, like I figured I would have figured it out about Ian Sinclair, right? But like Chica, there's no way. There's no way I would have figured that out because it's just like it's just so different, you know. But do you have anything else to talk about, like the dubbed and subbed? Because I literally just wanted to talk about Ian Sinclair and how good of a job he did. And if he didn't
He's
win awards for this shit, like it's rigged. The game is rigged, bro.
he was the only real standout, I would say, out of the entire cast.
Yeah.
Um, so it appears that the anime did not actually get an award.
Yeah, well, that's because they don't know what they're talking about. So
The manga did though. The manga won an award.
I'm literally gonna make up an award next year, for the DGs, since we watched this for 2025, and it's going to be a voice actor award. Um, and I'm going to nominate Ian Sinclair. By the way, I call dibs. Nom, I call dibs, and he is going to win.
He'll
uh,
definitely have the best chance out of everyone. That's for sure.
and the reason why I know he's going to win because I'm going to bribe Nom. Right now Nom is agreeing to support me in my claim. So, uh, but yeah, I guess moving on to something a little bit is very similar. I want to talk about not the voice actors, but the characters themselves. Because this is honestly a very character heavy anime. Like the comedy and the story, it's all about the characters, right? Like this is what makes the show go. Like it's not about the story really, it's about the characters and the interactions between them. And we only get like four people that we focus on in season 1 basically, early on. And then we add another one in Ishigami later on in the season, like the last half. And like Nam said, we get another one in the second season. Uh, but like outside of these four or five, um, everyone else is either just like uh a rare appearance, like a every once in a while appearance, or something like that. It's usually revolving around Miyuki, Kaguya, Chika, and Ishigami, and obviously, like in the second season, Miko. Um, but was there any characters that stood out for you, Nam? Like any characters that you really, really enjoyed, or just any that you hated, any that you related felt relatable, any of that.
Um, I felt like the biggest problem with it ultimately was that while they did try to portray like the whole high school dynamic, I felt like they led too much into each dynamic with each character, right? So like if I had to ultimately pick a mix of characters, like I could probably sympathize a little bit with Fujiwara and Ishigami if they were to combine as a character.
So
Um
I'm curious, like, w- what about Chica? You know, uh, what about Chica? What
her
parts of her?
her more outward personality and the fact that she's more into like board games and stuff like that.
Okay, I could see that. I could see that.
Yeah, but then Ishigami for like, the more homebody esque appearance,
Games.
his the gaming, and then the fact too. So this is a fun fact about me. Um, I'm very quiet when I move. Very, very quiet. If you don't have your eyes on me, I could end up behind you in a moment.
That's literally what Ishigami does. That's one of his running gags or whatever, right?
Yes, he just happens to appear randomly out of nowhere and you had no idea he was there.
Chica does
Um
it too, to be honest with you.
well, I mean, like she tends to make her appearance more known at times too, whereas like Ishigami, even if he attempts to make his appearance known, people still get scared. So, our ops manager at Micro Center, I will try and like be as soft and quiet and gentle as can be, right? So like she's sitting at her desk and it's a decent size away, right? I'd say, it's probably like 6 feet from her door. So I'll like gently just one of these kind of knocks, right?
Yeah.
And she'll just be like, "Oh my god." Like, "I'm sorry. What do you want me to do? I can't shout cuz then you'll get scared. I can't knock softly cuz you'll get scared."
Well, what you gotta do, Nam, is when you're approaching the office, you gotta talk to yourself in a normal fashion. That way, they can hear you coming and like fading in. You know what I mean?
No, what I gotta do is I gotta go in front of the window and I gotta wave a little bit, and then I'm gonna like point that I'm coming around,
Put
so that way
your
they can keep their eyes out.
put your nose on the glass and just stare at her like chee until she notices.
Breathe on the glass and write a note.
So you didn't really have any favorite characters? Like that was like the two that you related to the
Well,
most, like if they combined?
I mean, so relate.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. As far
Yeah.
as like characters that I did enjoy, I mean, the whole main cast. I mean, each of them had a equally agreeable kind of personality, right? Like
It's hard to pick a favorite, to be honest with you.
it
So
really is. I mean, I will say that Kaguya definitely is not very high on the list, except for the episode where she was sick and she really wanted fireworks.
those are really good episodes though.
I'm looking for fireworks.
She 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 was so like cute and precious during that episode. Like we need more of that Kaguya, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, too, she definitely doesn't like win many awards outside of that until like season 2 starts coming around. Um, and I will admit that like as much as I think that they are fucking idiots,
They're so bad. Like they're so stupid. I don't care if their IQ is 300. They're stupid as hell.
yep. I will say that I do find Shirogane, Miyuki, Prez, as we all know him, um, I find that he's his tactics are at least a lot more creative.
Yeah, he's well,
He
I
doesn't
mean,
have all the resources in the world to work with, so he doesn't go overly outlandish with it, which really
yeah,
helps.
I was fixing to say, I think he's more used to having to get creative because he doesn't, he isn't able to just get whatever he wants to do things. He's got to do it his way. So, which is fun. Um, for me, like I said, it's very hard to pick a favorite. If I had to pick a favorite from season one, um, I would I would have to say the narrator first, and it's like a tie between Chika and Miyuki for second. And then, I love Kaguya too, but like, she's like I agree with Nam, like she's the weaker one in the first season. Now, my rankings do change as the seasons go, obviously, because like the as we can see in like the first season, like I mentioned before, uh the characters changed a lot. So since the characters changed a lot, so do their personalities. So uh my rankings do change in the later seasons. But I will say like the narrator, he's like he's part of it. If I'm counting him as part of the cast, he's number one. So
Yeah, I mean,
hands down.
if he's a cast member, sure, but
Yeah.
I don't. That's why I didn't choose him. Right, I don't consider him to be a cast member. He's definitely like part of the cast, but he's not a physical person that we get to see and interact with like that, like we do all the students.
Yeah.
So at the end
And
of the day, he still only gets so much as far as my vote goes.
yeah. Um Now the overall series, like outside of the narrator, Chica. I really like Chica. As you can see, I got my Chica here, you know. Now Nam knows who she is. Good old Chica. Um I just had to show her off. And I also do like Kaguya. Like after watching all the episodes, like literally Chika, Kaguya, and Miyuki, like they're literally all very close to each other. And Chika is the winner. I just love Chika so much. So she's such a fun character. If y'all know me, I like the very outgoing, very happy characters, and that is what Chika is. So, Um, but yeah, that is the way I would go. Uh, so speaking of Chica, I want to get into some of the things that she does.
Mhm.
And one of those things is, she's always trying to put her nose in everyone else's business, right?
Yep.
And I want to know, like, do you think that Chica helps or hurts their chances of
Hurts.
confessing to each other? And why?
Instantly hurts it every
Why?
single time because when they're in the middle of their little game, right, the only thing they can think of is how they're gonna counter, and Chica throws that completely out of focus. Everything that she does is a contradiction to that core principle that they're trying to get to, and that is why that she is going to be the reason they don't do it yet.
Yeah, the thing that makes Chica so, fun is that n not only does she, like, actively hurt them, she actively puts them in situations that helps them
They
too, but then
where
she
they have
screws
to
it up.
ultimately do it. Yeah, so they actively have to do it and then they can't. All right, so another spoiler time. This one skip ahead of a minute. Um I want to talk about season 2 where they're getting reelected, right?
Yeah.
And he wins and he has to basically ask someone to be the person setting up all the stuff. And the entire time, everyone in the school, right? They're gathering these two together because Fujiwara basically let it seem like, oh, we're getting them together so that way they can confess to each other. No, she wanted them to get together so that way he would ask her to be the person running the campaign. When that didn't happen, right, and they did get together, he had no choice but to ask her that. Meanwhile, the entire school is standing around thinking that he's gonna ask something else.
Oh, yeah, it's so good,
My
you
favorite
know?
part about it though was her answer. This
Was
will apply to this question and any other future question you may want to ask.
Yes.
Yes, it will be my pleasure.
Yeah, so, you know I mean, I guess you could read between the lines there, and if you was like a smart person, which Miyuki is, but he's also a big dummy head, and he won't read between those lines. He like,
Oh
I'm
no, he
sure,
did.
I'm
He
sure in
did.
his
That's
mind that he did, and then he overthought it
nope,
too.
nope, he definitely didn't. I know that
Oh,
for a fact because
oh,
you see the look in his face. But here's the thing. She still didn't confess.
oh yeah. She just made him think
He's
about
not
it more.
caving.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's not bending like that.
yeah. Yeah, my opinion, you know, even though Chica does set them up for moments that could lead to confessions, she then actively ruins those moments. And I swear to you, I really do think that if it wasn't for Chica, they would be dating by halfway through season 1, to be honest with you. If it
Oh
wasn't for
yeah.
Chica and her cherry blossom magnifying glass.
At the very latest, it would have happened by what is it? The end of season 1 with the fireworks show.
Oh yeah, yeah. Uh so like Chica actively helps and hurts. So uh I really do believe that Chica, if it wasn't for Chica, like they would be together. Um they would already caved. But Chica like literally just actively hurts the situation most of the time. So um do you have anything that you want to talk about now before we get into the only other thing I only got like a couple more things before we do the final thoughts. Like I want to talk about some of our favorite moments of the show. I think that's pretty fun, and I want to know something like basically a theory craft question just for you. So if you have
Okay.
anything else you want to bring up right now, now's the time.
Um, I mean, not really. Like I said, throughout most of it, I've kind of talked about some of the things like basically how obvious, right, Kaguya is, how more glaringly obvious it gets as it goes on. Um, but it also kind of like falls into as well how oblivious Shirogane is most of the time at the most obvious situations. But it's just like any other regular man, right? So
Yeah.
there's no difference there. Um,
One of my one like speaking of that, like you remember that scene where Miyuki and Ishigami's just sitting underneath the tree just talking about asking for a friend. You remember that episode?
yeah,
When they was asking her for a friend, and they was just talking about their friend or whatever, about after the sickness episode and stuff like that. And after they got into a fight about the cake, remember? That
yep,
was really funny. It just shows you how oblivious Ishigami and Miyuki is compared to like um who was it? Kashiwagi and Kaguya, right? Like, it was
yeah.
just so funny how oblivious they were. It's like, yeah, it can't be that, bro. It can't be.
There's no
Yeah,
way.
it was though.
It really was. And then another thing too that I wanted to kind of talk about too. Aside from like the horrible advice that they give during those like seeking advice episodes, is just
Oh god.
how innocent Kaguya really is,
She's
right?
very
So,
innocent.
like, first time she thought that was talking about kissing
Oh yeah.
and not what it really was.
That was great 'cause the whole moment was made even better by Chica going over there and whispering what it actually meant in her
Oh
ear.
yeah. It was so great. And then you also have just like anytime that something is happening that has to do with romance and Kaguya is around, all of her reactions and stuff like that is very, very interesting to see, especially from somebody who's supposed to be, like a teenage girl. You'd figure that she'd be past all that.
Yeah, well,
Which
so
which does actually lead me into one of the favorite moments that I kind of want to talk about.
okay. Well, before you get to that, I just want to
Yep.
say also is I think the reason why she acts so strange and she doesn't know all these things is because I don't know if you caught this or not, but like it showed some of her backstory during those episodes, like the
Oh yeah.
first
She
thing.
she never learned anything that was teenage based. It was all
It was like business, and
academic.
remember
Yeah.
they had that chalkboard up there, like that marker board or whatever, and it had like 3 rules, and one of them was like, um, uh, what did they say? When you get married, leave it to the man. Like they had like 2 other things, like if you fall in love, no you didn't or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what the hell they said. Like she still believed in storks. Like she thought storks was the way babies was, brought or whatever. So
Yeah, she was like, "So when does the stork get involved?" Or she's like, "No." So, oh yeah, that was what she said. So you're saying the stork doesn't get involved?
yeah,
Like,
when you
no, no, the stork doesn't get involved. What?
yeah, so when you get married, just leave it to the man. That's literally one of the rules that she was taught. So this is why she literally does not know about anything. So
Yeah, but it's also like nice and refreshing that they show that too.
yeah, yeah, it makes sense. So what was you gonna lead into? You said it was one of your favorite moments. We can just go ahead and get into it.
Okay. um so there was a certain episode where there was a joke being told. It was Kaguya and Fujiwara hanging out. They were in the council room, and they were talking about um something. They were basically laughing and whatnot. And then Fujiwara was like, "I just want you to laugh as hard as I do sometimes."
Oh, the wiener.
And so then she started saying wiener, and then Kaguya just couldn't keep it in. And then she was
Yeah,
trying to get her to say wiener outside of that as well. Or trying to get what was his name? Miyuki to
Miyuki.
say
Yeah,
it.
you
And
know.
then she was like, "I just wanted him to give us his wiener."
Yeah,
And
well,
he's like, "You
Ishigami
sick
was
perverts."
yeah, Ishigami was standing outside the door when they was alone and they was talking, like, and all the out of context things about wieners was being said and about how hard they was and all that stuff, and then he just, like, starts doing the Sanji, you know what I mean? It's so
And then no,
funny.
yeah, and then my favorite thing too is right afterwards during all the like post episodes,
Mhm.
he was like, "So who ended up with it?" Like
Who
what?
ended up who ended up getting it or something like that.
Like that's not what you ask.
That just goes to show you, like, how out of touch he is, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't know how to talk to people, I don't think, so, uh,
Not at all.
um, one of my favorite moments, is, I don't know if you so, a very popular thing from Love is War is the Chica dance. I don't know if you remember that or not, it was, like, the, ending for episode 3. It only happened one time. Do you remember that?
I don't, because I
Okay.
typically do skip the endings, but I
Well
can
well, for this specific, for this specific thing, Love is War, you have to go back to episode 3 and you have to watch the ending of episode 3 because it has a limited, like, it has a special ending and it is one of the most popular endings, uh, like, it's one of the most popular things ever. Like, you've probably seen it, it's of Chica, and, like, you've probably heard the song and you've probably seen the dance probably. If you haven't, then I don't know, you're very lucky. So, but that is one of my favorite things of Love is War is the Chica dance, and it's sad that we only got that one time, and that was episode 3, the ending of it. So another segment that I really liked was the cat ear segment. I really liked that. I thought that was really cute. I thought that like I thought that that was like also one of the moments where they was kind of feeling more lovey dovey than usual. So I really enjoyed it. Do you have
I
any more?
have never seen this before.
Yeah,
I remember seeing the beginning of it because like it started with her legs and then it cut to her like laying on the desk, and I was like, that's kind of weird.
no, it's the Chica dance, bro. It's
Well,
one of the
obviously.
It's one of the most popular dances in anime, bro, and now you know. So, we got one time to watch it, and that's episode 3. You
It is
you can't even
really
hardly find that
well
on
animated,
YouTube.
actually.
Yeah, you can't even find this on YouTube,
What
usually, so
what are you talking about? I That's where I found it. It
well,
just I
like
typed in Chica dance and it was literally the first link on YouTube.
used to, you couldn't find it on YouTube, like, they take it down or something, like, a lot.
Oh,
Because
I
every
believe
time
it.
I go to look for it, like, it's never like the actual, the thing. It's like this song and like some kind of bullshit, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, now that you've seen it, so that is one of my favorite moments. Do you have any more? I know we said the
Um,
sick Kaguya episode, like that was a really good one.
yeah, and how she like drags him under her blanket and stuff like that. And then when she starts feeling better, she's like, "Oh my god," pushes him out of the bed. And then she gets mad because he didn't do anything.
Yeah. It's
Like,
insane.
are you fucking kidding me? You're the problem. Stop.
Well, Nom underplayed it. She don't just push him out of the bed. She like drop kicks him out of the freaking room. Like he
I
goes
mean,
flying out of the room. I'm like, damn, bro
yeah,
was trying
pretty
to sleep,
much.
bro. Like
You
he
and it
was,
was you're the one that put him there. He didn't even
yeah.
want to.
And I just want to say like he's a good dude. Like, you know, he's a very good dude. So, you know,
He's
but
too good if you ask me.
yeah, he's like, I restrained myself. I didn't even touch her. I didn't even think about it. I just went to sleep instead. And I was like, bro, you're so good. You're such a good dude. Um, anything else? Because I only got a couple more that I really, really enjoyed. So,
Um, Not a whole lot that I can really think too much of. I did enjoy like the fireworks scene more as like a serious moment.
oh yeah, that's one of my
Like
favorites too.
just how that whole episode played out was really nice. And I guess too, just like one scene that really helped show what a standout guy Miyuki is when there was the debate in season 2. That's by the way, if you guys are listening, that's your spoiler warning. Season 2. Um, uh, so it started with the debate, right? And what's his name? Ishigami was like, "This is the whole reason why she loses. You'll see right here. She has a horrible time speaking in front of groups, and every year that she does it, it gets worse." And okay, so that's very unfortunate, but like the best part about the episode was when Miyuki decided to cut in. He was like, "I'm gonna beat her, but we're gonna do it in a way that helps her out."
Yeah, yeah, of course, because that's what Miyuki is, right?
Yeah, and to see him really kind of show that selflessness was really nice to see.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, he's one of my favorite characters. Him and Kaguya is literally tied after Chica. Chica's just so good. Like she's so good. Um, uh, one more thing that I want to mention as well is I really enjoyed when the episode of Ishigami got officially introduced, and we find out that Kaguya's just been threatening to kill him the whole time. And then they play like Chica's stupid game or whatever, and then he thinks that he's secretly in love with Kaguya. And like the whole mental breakdown over that, like over him like secretly being in love with her and not like knowing it was just so fun. Like almost
My
every
life is
episode we
over.
yeah, every episode that we see him in, he's just like, I'm going home now so I can die. And Miyuki's just like, please don't die.
He's like, "Okay, please don't die."
Another one that I can think of is when Kaguya was trying to sign up for Twitter, uh, and she couldn't sign up for it because she's literally a bot and couldn't figure out the captcha. And she thought she was banned because she was trying to see Miyuki's tweets, and it was like it was private or whatever. Like that
Yep.
was like a peak episode, honestly. I was like, damn, the capture done got her. Like, how are you this like computer like illiterate? Like as
Because
a
it's not conductive for professional business.
but the same freaking episode, Nom, she's literally typing like 200 words a minute. How can you type 200 words a minute when you don't even know how to operate the internet? You know what I mean? It just don't make
Typewriters.
sense. I don't think so. I think she's just stupid.
I mean, that
uh,
much was obvious already.
yeah. So unless you got any other favorite scenes or like funny scenes that you want to, mention, because I feel like that's the best part of the show is like the stupid shit that we watch, like the funny scenes and all that stuff. Do you have anything else before we move on to the theories?
No, no, I think that'll be good for that part. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be more really good scenes coming up
Oh yeah.
here pretty
That's
soon.
all this show is, bro. Like, I can't wait for you to get to see a scene that happens in early season 3. It's like one of my favorite scenes of Kaguya-Sama or Love is War. So, and I'm not gonna mention anything about it because I don't want to give you a heads up. I want you to actually see it, but it involves Chika and Miyuki. So, um, you'll know when you see it. But I just want to know, like, so since you're new to this, you've only watched the first season and almost the second season. Uh, do you think that they'll end up confessing later on down the road? And if you think so, who do you think confesses?
Yes, Kaguya.
Oh, you think Kaguya does? Okay. Yeah,
Yep.
I just wanted to know. I'm not gonna like confirm or deny or anything like
But
that. So,
I do want to add that I feel as soon as she does, that Miyuki will literally do the exact same right afterwards. So it'll basically be like they both did it at the same time.
so you're calling like a double confession.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to see because never know. You never know if they do, if they don't, who does it. So I wanna have you on tape saying what you think's gonna happen. That way you could go back and say, I told you so, or damn, I was so wrong. So I guess that's gonna end the episode pretty much. I just wanna give like the final thoughts and like score, I guess, before we end it. I guess I'll go ahead and start. Let Nam take a moment to gather his thoughts and maybe what he's going to score it and stuff like that. I know that I said originally in the earlier episode that I had season 1 at an 8 uh, when I first watched it many years ago. And, you know, like I said, I watched the dub for the first and second season back then. And then I watched the subbed for season 3 in the movie. And after watching it this time and dubbed again, I'm definitely giving this a 10 because like I said, I didn't uh, I didn't appreciate how good Ian Sinclair was as a narrator because I just didn't have too much experience with a narrator role, so I didn't actually realize that hey, this man is like going above and beyond and he's like, he makes the show what it is. And, just because of his performance and like the dub performance, and like I said, even the sub performance, on the other side, like it's all a 10. Like this is, I'm a big fan of this show. This is literally a top 15 show for me of all time. This is, like I said before, a top 3 dub of all time. Like it's just so good. And like one of the things that I always like about shows like this is the characters. Like if I love the characters and like if I love the characters and the way that they interact with each other and if I have fun and laugh at them like I do and like the voice actors kill it like they do, like that's a masterpiece to me. Like I literally gave Train to the End of the World a 9 because I just loved the way the girls interacted with each other and like the voice actor performance that came with that. And this is definitely a 10 because of that because the characters carry. Ian Sinclair carries, and I'm honestly probably gonna just keep on watching on my rewatch grind because I'm just having so much fun. I'm laughing too much. Like every night before I go to bed, I literally watch like 5 episodes before I'm like, oh shit, I gotta turn this shit off because I gotta go to bed. And then I just turn it off, and I'm just like too wound up, and then I just have to turn Twitch on or something and just calm down for a little bit because I've been laughing too much. So, but that's it. 10, easy 10 for me. Peak, 10 all the way through. Top 15 show all time. It might actually move up to top 10 after my rewatch. To be honest with you.
Okay. There's some pretty strong feelings there.
Oh yeah.
Um I'm not giving this one a 10, but I will give it a I'm gonna give it an 8 right now through what I've watched. A big, strong reason for that is definitely because of the narration. Um, Again, it is hard to just top what has been brought to us. So I'm happy with that. And at the same time, there's definitely still more room to grow in terms of like just overall character development and stuff like that, which is one of the things that I want to see more of. Like they introduced the president, right? And it was between him being the actual president. He was able to get some extra sleep and he looked so different and stuff like that. If they lean more into like those kind of things, I feel like it might still climb a little bit more. I am definitely interested to see more of like the character development though and how these events play out. And I think that that'll ultimately have a much more satisfying payoff that'll be worth it in the end.
Okay. Yeah, I'm really I hope that you I assume you're going to continue watching. I hope that um you're
Yeah, I'm gonna
probably going
finish it
to
probably by this weekend.
yeah, I was going to say you'll probably finish it pretty soon. And I'm going to expect you to tell me, what you thought about what you do watch coming up. So, cuz it does get a lot more different. So, as you keep on going. I really do feel like that the season 3 and the movie especially, is like leans more on the romantic side instead of the comedy side. Even though, like I said, the comedy is still there. It's still very much a big presence in any of this show. It's just like the romance definitely floats to the top a lot more. So, but yeah,
I can
if
see
you
that.
if you don't have anything else, Nom, I guess
No,
it's time to shut it down for tonight. So,
yeah,
uh, but yeah, thanks for everyone for coming out, listening to us talk about Love is War, one of my favorite shows. Probably going to be one of Nom's favorite shows, hopefully, by the time he's done with it. Um, Make sure you join the Discord. Make sure you rate our podcast on the podcast platforms, all that good stuff. Linktree.com/anime degens, anime degens on any of the socials. Don't forget to like the video and follow us on YouTube, by the way. Comment, let us know where, Love is War stands on your list, let me know. But that is going to be it for this week. Peace. I'll see you on Monday, Tuesday, whatever day rundown is
one
on.
of those days.
Bye.
Later.